All right, here we go with this 4 o'clock hour. Jeff Traylor, head football coach at UT San Antonio, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio and a great friend of the show. So, congratulations.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
Does this slow everything down, calm everything down? People now leave you alone or not?
I hope so. I hope by Wednesday we're kind of done with this kind of stuff. I just don't want my players having to answer it anymore. We've been working on this, President Amy and Dr. Compo, since this summer. You don't just come up with a 10-year contract over the weekend, right? I mean, there's a lot that goes into those things. There's a lot of facility upgrades. There's coaches increases on my assistants. There's added personnel. There's food for my players in the weight room and those kind of particular things for nutrition. So I was just tired of my players having to answer it. It's probably not the best business decision in the world, but it's the best for my players. And that's, you know me well enough, David, that's I'm going to always try to make my decisions.
Did others make it really hard on you because there's coaching opportunities elsewhere? Did it make it difficult? Like you said, it wasn't maybe your best business decision. How hard was that?
This is about my players. This is about UTSA. This is about President Amy, Dr. Compost. This is about my wife and I loving the community. And that's all this was about. I mean, it just so happens that any time a job comes up in the state of Texas, it happened last year. It's happening again this year. My name's probably going to be in it. And the only people that are ever going to know the truth about what really happened is me and whatever the other party is that people are talking about. So this is about my kids, David, and me wanting to get ready for UTEP next week.
All right.
Is there something to be said in that, look, any coach can go and try to climb the ladder anytime something comes open, but of doing, and look, we've seen it here in Waco. Scott Drew set down roots, and he isn't even budged from Waco, and making something your program and not having to worry about, what's my resume look like each year as the season ends?
I'm just not real big on listening to people's words, right? I like to see what they've done. And, I've stayed put for 15 years. And we told people we were going to stay there as long as we possibly could. We wanted to build that thing. And when I left it, I wanted to leave it in my guys' hands. And I wanted them to continue to do what we had done there. You got to remember now, we started there in 2000. Our press box was condemned. We built some deer stands, and we coached out of deer stands. And now when you go back to Buckeye Stadium, that thing doesn't have deer stands. I mean, you got facilities, girl facilities, new high school, new elementary, softball, baseball, junior high. People want to believe. They want to give to something that's greater than themselves. Football has that unique ability to bring all of us together. Religion, race, color, doesn't matter. You're all road runners or you're all Buckeyes, whatever your team is you choose to be, the Bears in Waco, you're all in with them.
Coach, I know you're focused on the Miners right now, and they're a good football team, but I do want to mention that video that was put out there yesterday of you and President Amy also letting the team know of the contract extension. Saw a little bit of that celebration on their faces. What was that moment like for you, and what was their response like?
One of the highlights of my career. I was afraid they might boo that man. I didn't know. Dr. Compost asked me why I did not have our video team in there. And I'm like, I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't really know if I wanted it recorded, right? But luckily, a couple of people had their cell phones out, and they got it. And it just meant the world to me. The reason I got that contract was those 115 players. Without those 115 players, that kind of stuff doesn't happen.
Jeff Traylor with us, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. So let me ask you this. When you go through what you're going through, the success you're having, it all started somewhere. It started for you at Big Sandy High School with Brad McGinnis, and then Danny Long at Jacksonville. How much do you reflect back? I know you got to look forward. How much, when I bring that up, do you kind of get maybe emotional or even goosebumps?
Well, you know me, I get emotional. The older I get, the worse I get. I mean, it's almost embarrassing how easy it is to make me cry nowadays. But, getting texts from all those people means the world to me. I mean, Danny, Coach Long sent me a text literally that said, Jeff, after I saw that video of your kids, when you told them, it reminded me of the kids in Jacksonville when I see you drive them all home after practice in your Camaro. Those same kids, I mean, they're all the same, and they all want to be coached really, really hard, and they want to be loved harder. And if you can coach them and love them, you can win a lot of ball games with great athletes.
Coach, I got to tell you, the first thing I thought when I saw the news of a 10-year contract extension, I thought, oh, good, he can buy a couch that he's allowed to sit on.
Yeah.
You know, at least I can afford the cover, maybe cover it up so I can sit on it. Hey, let me tell you something. I'll tell you some good news. She was gone. My baby girl, JC, is studying abroad in Italy right now. I say studying very loosely. I think she's traveling abroad. And Carrie went over there to be with her for 10 days. Then she came back, and Jordan, you know, is with the Saints right now. They played the Buccaneers yesterday. So she went and stayed the weekend with Jordan. And I've had the house to myself for 2 weeks. And it's just been blissful just being able to lay on that couch and leave my shoes wherever I want to, man.
You can't say that. What are you doing?
That was a good win for the Saints, by the way.
Yeah, it was a nice win for the Saints, yeah.
By the time she comes home, David, I'm a veteran. I'll have that thing cleaned up. I'll have it spotless. Just anybody that's listening, don't let Care Bear know that I violated some of her couch rules.
Well, speaking of that, when she gets back, are you ever going to get that swimming pool done?
It's done. It's done, and she's gone. I've been in it. She's by myself. She's been in Italy, and she's been in New Orleans, and I'm just living the high life back there by myself.
Oh, my God. You're going to be sleeping on that couch, by the way.
No, you're quality control, Coach.
Yeah,
Somebody had to go in and test it to make sure that when she gets back, it's okay.
Right, yeah. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. But I did miss you, Care Bear. I did miss you.
Hey, Coach,
late.
not having a game this weekend. Obviously, there were some other things going on that you were taking care of, but what was it like to have that little bit of a break before you hit this stretch run? And now looking at a UTEP team that, you know, has had a pretty good year. I mean, Jacob Cowing's a receiver that I've had my eye on. He's a great playmaker. It seems like the Miners have a good thing going now at 6-2. I know they're coming off of a loss, but your thoughts on getting to catch your breath a little bit if you did, and now preparing for a solid UTEP team?
You know, we didn't tackle Louisiana Tech very well, and we looked like a tired football team. So this week we padded up. Now we were full pass Tuesday and Wednesday. We tackled and blocked, and we didn't do any type of teams. We went back to old school, just fundamentals, and we tried to get our kids fresh by giving them, you know, Friday and Saturday off. And we were full pads last night, and we got after it again. If we want to make this thing of November to remember, that triangle up, as we always talk about it, we got to be about it now. We got to get back to tackling better and blocking better and just taking care of the football and being a fundamental football team. So that was our focus of the week. UTEP is very good, to your point. Dana's done a great job getting those guys going. And we're going to have our hands full in the Sun Bowl at 9:15 on national TV Saturday night.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had Dana on the show a couple of weeks ago. They, of course, bowl eligible for the first time in a long time. There's so much going on, Jeff, in college football right now. The transfer portal, of course, has been around now for a couple of years. The NIL, realignment, I know you kind of were able, hey, that's the president and AD, let them handle that, and they did soon after that. How much is too much right now outside of just coaching your football team?
Well, that's where it's all at. I mean, you got to be there. And that's what we talk about with our team all the time. It sounds like coach talk, but today was our academic day. We had to be the very best we could be in academics. You play exactly the way you practice. If you want to play great Saturday night, then practice great Tuesday, practice great Wednesday, practice great Thursday, practice great Friday. That recipe has worked for a long, long time. It's just, can you get your kids to stay focused during that time? And we're a very, very mature football team. We're senior-led. Our single-digit guys have tremendously bought into our culture, and they've done a great job of holding us accountable in practice.
Jeff Traylor, head coach at UT San Antonio, with us. The Roadrunners going against UTEP, as he mentioned, on the road coming up this Saturday night on ESPN2. You went to Gilmer, your alma mater, and we know the story with what you did, winning state championships and taking them to a level and basically taking over that area for a long, long time. You coached at your alma mater. What's more difficult, doing that or trying to build this program you're doing now at UT San Antonio?
That's a great question. It's just different, but it's the same. What I mean by different but the same, it's just the massive energy that it takes, convincing people how important it is, convincing players that it's worth it. That's where it's the same. Where it's different, there are just so many people that I love deeply and dearly that I've known forever in Gilmer. My teachers, Sunday school teachers, preachers, deacons, former players, just, classmates. That was tough. Here, I had to, convince them that I was just a good human first. And maybe in Gilmer, I was trying to convince them I still wasn't that bad human that I used to be. So that's where it's different. But I still love ball and coaching and people. And it's really fun when you can try to get this thing going in the right direction, David.
Last thing, Jeff, do you sometimes get tired of the attention? Or is this something that because you're getting it, it means the program's doing it right?
That's exactly what it is. I hate doing it. I really do. I know people don't believe that because I love to talk. But I don't like the attention. I don't. I really wish there's a way you could do this without it being that way. So we know the deal, right? That's just part of the deal. And I know if I do this and I'm talking to you, that somebody out there is listening, and maybe one grandmother's listening to me and goes, you know what? I want my baby to play for that man. And he might end up coming down here. So it's worth it. I've got great coordinators right there right now, game planning. We'll get to have a staff meeting at 5 o'clock. We'll get out of here late tonight. Whenever you take time away from your football, you just got to get it back somewhere. So that means your workout might be shorter. You might not be able to get lunch. Your sleep might be less. And as long as I've got this energy, David, and I feel this good, I'm going to keep burning at both ends.
I know you will. Hey, Axum Jacks,
Congrats,
good luck to Birds Up, Big Sandy, Jacksonville, Gilmer High School native, and now, of course, head coach at UT San Antonio. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it every time. Thanks, Jeff. Congratulations.
Congrats to y'all, man. What a great job Coach Aranda's done. What a great win with those guys Saturday. Happy for you guys, too, David. Thank y'all. God bless. Birds up.
You too. Thank you so much. Gets emotional when you think about where he started as an assistant coach, under Coach McGinnis at Big Sandy. I mentioned yesterday on Twitter, he started as an SFA guy, and then I thought his first job, I forgot, was at Jacksonville under Danny Long, who, Craig, you knew him as well. But it was at Big Sandy under Brad McGinnis, and here he is. Remember, he went to Texas under Charlie Strong. That didn't work out. Then he's at SMU with Chad Morris. That didn't work out. Goes to Arkansas with Chad Morris. He was up for that SFA job. Colby Carthel got the job. He's an alum, Jeff is. That hurt, even though Colby's doing a great job at SFA, and now look what he's doing now at the University of Texas, San Antonio.
Yeah, he was this close to being a Baylor assistant under Matt Rule as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that was very close to happening and just didn't quite, work out ultimately. But, yeah, his rise has been, definitely something to be impressed with, and just the different experience he's been able to accumulate and now turn it in, to being able to have the opportunity to run a program and then to do with it what he's doing with it, to the point to where just a short amount of time, UTSA is in the top 25, and now you've got, colleges across the state. And I would imagine, the more this goes on across the country, taking notice and being interested in his services. And, I thought, I didn't want to predict what Jeff Traylor might do when it came to like some of these jobs opening up and whatnot. But when I did see that news come across about him and UTSA and the contract extension, I just thought that was awesome, because so often it is, guys just taking that next opportunity, just climbing. And it's very rare where you see somebody who decides, like, I'm not going to take every single opportunity, and strike every single time that there's a chance to. There's something to be said for sticking around and continuing to build, and I like that he's going to be doing that in San Antonio for a while longer. They're relevant, and they, I know Larry Coker had some success early, and they had the win over Baylor, and Baylor's 1-11 year. But what they're doing right now is unprecedented in their short history, and he's a giant part of it.
Well, and look, sometimes, Texas Tech is, a more high-profile job. But for Jeff Traylor, is it a better job for him?
Right.
That's the more important thing. It might work out great in the short term for people in Lubbock, but in the long term, is it the best for Jeff Traylor? I think we lose the humanity in coaching searches. I think that's the thing I liked about what he said during that interview is we often forget about, like, no, this is what's best for Jeff Traylor and what he wants in his life. And he likes living in San Antonio. Maybe he doesn't want to go to Lubbock. Maybe, he likes his athletic director. He likes his president. Maybe you don't know how you're going to like Kirby Hocutt and the president at Texas Tech. You're going to like him a lot during a job interview probably, because they're going to try to make you like him. Mm-hmm. But if you have somebody you like right now and they're willing to pay you pretty much nearly and give you everything that you want in a contract, like, it's easy to be like, why would you stay at UTSA when you're not going to win a this or that or the other thing? Well, things are changing in college football. So if you can build it up, why not make it yours?
Well, and you're also not guaranteed to do that in Lubbock or in Fort Worth either. I mean, and I think, too, I realize money is important. It's basically the gasoline of our entire lives. But I've never been one that's just money. And that's probably cost me. I'd probably have a lot more if I did think that way. But it doesn't, I don't know. It's good to have, but it doesn't make me feel satisfied as a person, if that makes sense. It's not my justification for everything. And so I saw where Texas Tech opened up, and UTSA fans were talking about what they could possibly offer Traylor, and I saw a lot of Tech fans. They're like, man, we're gonna money whip him. We're gonna there's no way you can offer the same amount of money. Well, it wasn't about the money for Jeff Traylor, and I respect him a hell of a lot. I mean, I already did respect him, but I respect him even more because of that, because he didn't just take the check and run as soon as he got a chance to, or take the first opportunity to run and do that. He stuck around, and guess what? He's still going to make really good money. And he'll have a chance to make a whole heck of a lot more in the future. And he can keep winning and doing what he's doing in San Antonio until the next door, potentially opens. But I appreciate that about him.
Somebody asked on the chat room, did he coach G.J. Kinney? Yes, he coached against him in Canton, and his dad, who was a former linebacker, all-conference linebacker at Baylor, Gary Joe, stunned Gilmer in a playoff game at Rose Stadium. And the next year, G.J. was playing at Gilmer. His dad, of course, no longer coaching after the incident and with the shooting incident. And he played for Jeff Traylor at Gilmer, put up some huge numbers as well. Yeah. One thing I keep getting from a lot of you, and I've had people tell me this, is if you look at the contract that Jeff Traylor signed, the extension starts in January. Yes, there is still options there because of the buyout. $7.5 million is not until January. I know Jeff enough. I understand coaching changes. I know that people have floated the idea that it doesn't start till January, and it's a legitimate point. If you hurt him, you hurt him. And I know Jeff well enough that I think he pretty much just stamped that out. At least, and again, in a year or 2 or 3, we don't know what might happen, but I'm happy for him and his coaches. I had one of his coaches contact me last night. He took care of us, and we are grateful.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody's expecting him to be there for all 10 years of a contract. I don't think we're all foolish in that way, but I do think you could hear bringing up just the food aspect of this, all of the different things that he wanted for his program, and obviously has put a lot of thought into that, and they're about to receive a big boost across a lot of fronts, including the assistant coaching staff, money pool, and things for the players as well. And for those outside of Texas, or even, well, I guess most in Texas would be very well aware of Gilmer, but his run at Gilmer was legendary. I mean, it really was. It was unbelievable. Lots of Division I guys, lots of state championships, lots and lots of wins, and to see him doing this thing now here a few years later, as a top head coach in the state of Texas, and with a whole lot of options, I'm sure, still out there in the future. Very cool. Very happy for him.
We got a break coming up next. I had a chance to spend a little time with Grant Taft earlier today. An interview about Gary Patterson, who he knew very well. And he also knew that Patterson was not by any means a favorite of Baylor fans. And just coaching changes in general for a guy that used to run the AFCA as their executive director. That's coming up next. And his thoughts about Dave Aranda and Baylor. All of that and more. Sikkim 365 Radio.
Sports betting.